I'd like to welcome Seth Hootie Perera to the Man Cave.
Thank you for having me.
Seth and I go back a long way. We started working at the bar. We got hired on the same day. Do you remember the interview?
I remember walking in to the back part of the Honest Lawyer, and I remember you were sitting there, and I remember thinking, like, I can make drinks faster than that guy. There's not a chance that this guy... Because I thought we were, like we were against each other for the same position, right? Which was... I was interviewing for day bartending.
Yeah, it was you and I and 3 other guys. And we had already been hired.
So, maybe.
So, yeah, and you were going to be the day bartender at the Honest Lawyer,
yeah.
and I wasn't even going to be a bartender. I was going to be...
The bar back.
A bar back.
Yeah, that's right.
For not the main bar, but there was a separate second bar they had hidden back in the corner as well called the Side Bar.
Right.
Which was only open on the weekends, but that was quite the interesting place.
Yeah. You needed a special kind of person to be there.
Yeah, and as a result, I think it was kind of trial by fire. You had to learn pretty fast about how to get ice and how to tape up wounds.
I don't remember a lot of formal training. I don't really remember a lot of rules. There was structure.
Well, you had to learn how to make the drinks. I remember there was a bartender there named Jessica.
Yes.
And she was a bartender. I was a bar back. She handed me the book and said, memorize the book, and I'm going to test you on it. And then if you pass, then you can work. And funny story about her, and you might have forgotten this. She was also born on the same day as you and I. Seth and I share a birthday.
You know, happy birthday. It is our birthday.
Seth came over for our mutual birthday. So that was always a cool thing.
Yes, too. And we didn't. And you know what's funny is, with that, Ted Lamont also shares our birthday. What a weird thing that all of us who have really no connection in any way.
You saw the stack of pictures there. There was one of the photos in there was all the people that we worked with at the time that had their birthday on September 27th.
Wow.
So it was me, you, and then 2 other guys in that picture, and then Teresa in the middle with us all.
Oh, yeah. Teresa's birthday wasn't on.
But she just jumped in and
yeah,
let her.
She was hot, so
yeah.
Brought her the picture.
But up until that point in my life, I had never met another person born on September 27th.
Me neither.
And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And even now on Facebook, you might know with your friends who has a birthday today. Oh, my God.
There's like a lost episode in that. There's got to be something, like we're all born on the same day.
Yeah.
You know, did our mothers walk past each other? Like, who knows what happened?
But then we started working at the Honest Lawyer, and it was at a time in downtown Windsor's evolution or history where Americans were still coming over in droves because the drinking age was different.
You know, I've said this many times and I've thought it through. Can you imagine being at Ohio State or University of Michigan? You're 18 with a fake ID and you cross the bridge over into Canada, and all of a sudden the $200 in your pocket is now worth $300 immediately, and your hotel room is $25 because 4 you're going to cram into a $100 room downtown Windsor. And it's like Las Vegas. There's people smoking weed on the street, bars everywhere. They must have thought it was Las Vegas.
Yeah, and then bring in the casino.
And the casino, just for
and
for
then
fun.
the Windsor Ballet, of course.
With strip clubs, of course.
It was a great time to be
they
around.
have a vote for that?
But it was really crazy working there at that time, and it wasn't just on the weekend. I would work a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday.
You know, it was a hard job. It was fun. Let's be very clear at that. And we made a lot of money. We made a living. We all made a living there. Bought our houses, bought cars, went on trips. But it was a hard job, and it was 8 days a week. There was no stopping it. Like, I remember my one schedule was Monday night football. Tuesday was the office day when I was the bar manager. I think I had Wednesdays off. We'd rotate Thursdays. Yeah. And then Friday, Saturday, and then we'd all get drunk on Sundays at the Loop or wherever was going on. And
I used to work the bar on Sunday nights, and so everybody would do
Which is smart.
a crawl, and you guys would come in and watch football was happening Sunday night, and then just start going to other bars around the neighborhood. And there was always a new bar open, and there was always tons of friends from the industry. And I would have these American regulars come in, and I was making them shots, and I was buying them a round of shots, and they thought I was the greatest. And
the pre-mixed juice.
It's magic, you know. You put in 2 ounces of liquor over ice.
Sourpuss was the greatest invention. And Butter Ripple. Greatest invention.
Because everybody loved it.
Everyone tasted great, and it had a hint of booze, but you mix that with a little bit of cranberry or whatever, and you're the star of the show.
When we were at the Lawyer, there was a couple times when celebrities would come in. There was a Yuck Yucks comedy club upstairs, and a lot of comedians passing through. You had a Dustin Diamond story.
Yes. So, Screech.
Yes.
For those of us, those of you that don't know who Dustin Diamond is. So, yeah, the Yuck Yucks was upstairs. At the end of the show, a lot of the staff and everyone would come down, and he was there, and I remember that he was a real dick. I remember. I mean, he's passed away now, so, you know, I hate to talk badly about the dead, but I remember him being a real jerk. But I wonder now if maybe he was high or wrecked, or I don't know. I just remember, like, us all wanting to take a picture with him and him having no interest in that at all.
Okay.
You know?
You're going to love my recollection of that. Same thing.
Perfect.
Screech is doing Yuck Yucks. Everybody was telling us that it was sold out, but he was not funny at all.
Right.
He was just basically telling
Which seems...
Saved by the Bell stories, which is, wow, you know, whatever, it is what it is. And then he came down and he immediately glommed onto our doorman, Daryl.
Yep.
And Daryl's buddy, who always kind of sat by him, his name was Al, Big
Yeah,
Al,
yeah,
aspiring
Big Al.
comedian. But I heard that Screech wanted to hire Daryl and Big Al to kind of be his bodyguards for the night while he went and tried to play Golden Tee.
Yes.
And they shielded him, and like, people tease Screech, you know, they'd walk around yelling Screech, and people were doing that anyways, but at least they kept them off.
Wow.
And then the other celebrity that came in, Jimmy Walker.
Yeah, Kid Dynamite. I really enjoyed that. Because I remember growing up watching Good Times. He was one of those guys that was very, like, he wanted to be with the people. Like, I mean, we were feeding him booze, I think, too. So maybe that was part of the deal. But I remember him being very, very happy that we knew him and that we wanted to be in a photo with him and all that kind of stuff.
But JJ came behind the bar. He was gracious enough to come behind the bar, and he took a photo with us.
Yeah.
And I remember when he was walking by me, I said, Mr. Walker, my name's Mike Evans, just like your brother on the show Good Times.
That's very true.
It's like I was waiting my whole life to say that to this guy, you know, because I like the show too. And then he just looked at me and said, "That's fucking great, kid." Mm. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah. Picture everyone. Great.
And I don't. You said he was drinking, but I thought he was just drinking pineapple juice or something.
Oh, I don't know, man.
But
who knows? We were drinking, so.
Do you remember the name Donnie Coy?
Donnie Coy. No, I'm going to say no.
He was another comedian. Like, he was kind of the MC at Yuck Yucks for a while. Older guy and a joke writer. And he had written all the jokes for JJ, for Jimmy, for his stand-up.
No way.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of Don Coy. He liked to come down to the Lawyer and drink Black Russians.
Yes.
With a cherry.
You know what? I'll tell you something. No, I know that there's all these fancy cocktail places now, and they'll smoke a drink. And that's great. It was very important to me. You were probably the same way as I was. To know all those drinks, to know customers' drinks, to be able to make a Black Russian the way he wanted, like all that stuff. Rusty nails.
Yeah.
It was a real craft for us, you know.
Totally.
Even though we were wasted the whole time, but it was a real craft for us to get those things right, you know.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because the better we did at it, the more money we would get tipped.
That's it. I would tell you, it was very important to me. We had a responsibility. We had to throw a party every night that we were there, especially on the weekends. During the week, you know, okay. But on Friday and Saturday night, it was our responsibility to make sure that everyone got too drunk and everyone had a story to tell and everyone had a good time. And I really felt that responsibility. I really felt like, I mean, it's funny to say it, but like, it was something that on the way to work, I remember, you know, I'd have breakfast at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And then I'd roll a doobie and I'd smoke it on the way to work, and I'd get into the Honest Lawyer, and the gleam of the ice would always freak me out because now I was a bit stoned at that time.
In there, yeah.
And I remember feeling very, almost like nervous every night that we had to perform this action of party. You know what I mean? Like it was a thing. I don't know that it goes on that same way. I don't know if that hustle is there. It's not about, you know, and back in my day, I think it was just our time. That was our time, and that was what we did. You know, it was the party was very important to us. I know that. Like,
yeah, and you and I worked together a lot, and we were learning how to do it alongside each other. That was the first bar that I ever worked at.
There was no plan. Mm-hmm. Every moment was kind of like, oh, is this what we're doing? Okay, let's go do that. We didn't have, other than the few, you know, things we would do, the huddle in the middle of the night or beginning of the night, and you know, go walk around for the money in front of the bar and all that kind of stuff, you know. And I remember when someone would break a glass at like 11:30 in a well. And it's the worst moment. It's worse than someone ordering a Caesar at midnight.
Send a shit back to the kitchen at 11:59.
Yeah.
Just when the kitchen's about to close at midnight. How mad did those guys get?
Oh my God, they were done.
Oh yeah, everything was cleaned up and they were ready to smoke.
And then we're like, we need like 50 chicken wings.
Yeah, and nachos.
Yeah,
nachos.
They just changed oil.
Yeah, I remember going back there and telling Anthony Lutz. One time I said I got an order coming through. It was like 11:56, and he got so mad. He turns around and he kicked the prep fridge, like which was the size of a bar fridge, on the ground.
Yeah.
And he had already prepped everything in it, including the batter for something the next day. And when he kicked the fridge, he kicked it too hard. The batter fell out of the fridge and spilled all over his clean floor.
So you had to do the whole thing over again?
He had to do the whole thing over again. I'm like, hey, you did that to
Yeah,
yourself.
man. Hey, man.
I wonder if he remembers that. Tell me what this is called.
The tool, I think it was.
That is one name for it.
The church key, of
church
course.
key.
Well, you know what threw me off was the lighter. Because by definition, the church key does not have a lighter.
That's just the opener.
It's just the opener, yeah, the church key.
And this is called the tool.
The tool, yeah.
Which was important because back when we worked at the Honest Lawyer, you could still smoke in bars.
That's absolutely bananas to me, but yet true. Yeah, 100%.
Smokers were our regulars, were our best friend.
Yeah. Remember having to put ashtrays out?
Dump the ashtray.
And then we dump in the slop bucket, so slop bucket Rob could drink it after.
Slop bucket Rob. That's a good story. Are you prepared to share that
one?
one?
Oh my God. So for those of you that have ever worked in a bar or even gone to a bar, there's behind the bar. And by the way, the slop bucket, what a fantastic invention.
Yes.
Who did that?
Good
Wasn't any of us.
Good question.
But whoever did that, God bless you. Anyways, a slop bucket is basically 2 pickle pails. You take the one pail, you drill holes in one, and you shove it in the other. And then throughout the night, when drinks would come back with half ice or gum
straws.
So instead of throwing it all in the garbage and having to deal with it, you'd throw it in the slop bucket. And then eventually throughout the night, the ice would melt, and you could just dump the water and dump the garbage, and then everyone was happy. So we had this guy, Rob, came down from London, and he was a cook, and I think he was going to be the head chef or something.
Yeah, he worked in the kitchen.
But he's a knucklehead like the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
So were you there too?
Oh, I was there.
Yeah, me, you, Justin Wilson, I'm sure were slightly inebriated.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
God. At the time. And so the slop bucket is exactly what you think it is. It's the dirt of the bar, ashtrays.
A little bit of booze.
A little bit of booze.
Yeah.
I don't know how we actually arrived at building up to him doing it.
He was broke.
And we weren't. And I don't mean that rudely, but
no.
we were making a lot of money that we didn't care about at that point or knew the value of it. Yeah. So we just paid him to drink the slop bucket water.
Yeah.
And he did.
It was poured into a glass for him with a fresh straw.
And I remember watching it and thinking to myself, I can't believe that this guy is doing
Should
this.
we try to stop him?
But he's a legend. He's a legend out of that. Like,
he earned the nickname Slop Bucket Rob. He was always Slop Bucket Rob
forever.
after that.
He was a great guy. We hung out the whole time he was here. And then I remember he just disappeared. Like he didn't show up for a shift and never saw him again or something like that. It was like the legend of Slop Bucket Rob.
And I think he did it for a very low amount.
It was like $20.
Something
like we all threw in $5.
Something less.
It was
$17.50 or something.
Yeah. Oh, I only have $3. Perfect.
Do you remember Zoran? I still see
Zoran probably came up with it.
He probably. Yeah. I still see him all the time.
All the time.
I ran into him downtown not too long ago with my brother, and I remember going up to Zoran and saying, "Hey, Zoran, tell my brother about the time you sold $2,000 worth of drinks one night." And he looks at me without hesitating for a second. He says, "And it was a Tuesday, bitch."
You know what, though? I would tell you, at that time, and outside of even the Honest Lawyer, because we all knew friends in the industry, we all hung out. And then something that I really, the camaraderie that we had then, and I know it goes on still, it must. I remember the hustle that you had to have as a bartender or a waiter you had to, because it was all about making money and having a good time. Zoran was definitely one of those guys that
100%.
was a hustler. Like everyone was. We all were hustlers. Like
100%.
We had our eye on the prize. We were staring at every tootie on that bar. The buckets and buckets of money.
It was raining down. I put a backboard in the tip pail.
Yeah.
And whipping a toonie from across the front of the Horseshoe Bar at the Honest Lawyer or something, and just hearing it go. Ding!
Didn't you like save all the $1 like American dollars
Yeah.
And like it bought you like a trip to Cuba or something like that.
I was so organized with my American money, and I separated it out of the tips because like I had a lot of American regulars. We all did.
Yeah.
And they would give me $1 here, $1 there, $5 here, $5 there, and I would keep a tally of how much I had, so I knew exactly. And I think in the end I had $1,500 American.
Over a year?
Over a couple years, in 18 months maybe,
Yeah.
which was enough to pay for my flight and my resort in Cuba.
That crazy?
I went to Cuba when I was a bartender. That was a fun.
American ones.
On American ones. I have a good Hootie Perera story
Great.
that I wanted to share with you. It was one of those nights when you said, like, it is very busy and you're doing a lot of volume, selling thousands of dollars an hour, a couple $1,000 an hour at the bar. And there's just so many people down there line up and it's packed to the gills. You got 2 off-duty cops working there.
Yep.
You and I behind the bar, maybe with Mike Fox back there as well.
Yeah.
And this American guy came up to me and he was like a frat boy looking guy. And he says, "Give me a shot." And he was a little bit belligerent. I think maybe he had been overserved and he was getting close to last call though, right? So I was going to give him one more. "Well, what would you like?" And he says, "You're the bartender. Make me whatever." He got under my skin a little bit when he said that. So, okay, I am a bartender. So I went and made 3 shots and I made the 3 wise men.
Yeah.
I didn't chill him. I just put him down, took his
absolutely.
American 20, walked over to the bar to cash him out. And when I'm walking over there, I hear a smash. Remember those big glass, Honest Lawyer 1 ounce shot glasses?
Yeah.
This thing gets thrown across the bar, smashes on the tile. And I'm still ringing him out. And it's this guy who took the shot, the 3 wise men, and recoiled.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What the was that? That is the worst piece of..." And since he had thrown that glass, not at you, but near enough to you where you just didn't want to hear it, you were fed up, you waved one of the cops over. and the cop is coming over, and this guy sees the cop, and he tries to head for the side door at the Honest Lawyer to try to just go away. Like, he leaves these 2 girls. You remember this?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, and next thing you know, the cop or his partner who's at the other door, they have him on the ground, and they're stepping on his neck to hold him in place. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, that's why you're nice to a bartender.
Right. The regular people.
Right, yeah, that was just something that always stood out to me. Another one was that the Honest Lawyer had a reputation for stinking.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that we could do about it. Like, we could clean and bleach every shift, like, because that was part of the protocol, you had to be clean. Yeah. But there was nothing we could do because there was some stink coming up from some sewer in the building.
What had happened was, I think, and I didn't know it then, but now my knowledge has changed a little bit, is there was a pipe, like a sewer pipe, that someone didn't cap underneath a cooler or underneath something, and it just wafted gases from downtown Windsor, Ontario.
It stank so bad.
Oh, man.
And then
it was still full. The bar was still full.
Oh, yeah. That's the best part. Location. But this guy, he must have been a comedian because he was so funny. It was finally his turn because it was a busy bar, like 3 deep, right? And he got up and he said, "I'd like a shot of Jack Daniels, a rag, and some incense." And I knew, like it.
Remember, we used to just deny it. We used to be like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean?
It smells fine.
It smells fine in here. What's the matter with you?"
But that guy impressed me.
Are you from the U.S.?
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
He impressed me so much that I think I just bought his round.
Oh, of course.
Like, that was brilliant. Oh, I wish I had some incense.
And remember, we could just do that. Like, you're all right, bro. Here you go. And we made that guy's night.
He tips you anyways.
Yeah, he tips you anyways.
Another funny story that you told me one time was you had all these regulars from a Thursday night. It was a group of Italian guys that came into the bar every Thursday, man. And they were your best friends. They were there to see you, and they loved to see you.
Yeah.
Because when you weren't working, I was, and they're like, "Where's Hootie?"
Regulars were the greatest.
Yeah. Like, they were great guys, and they got me into The Sopranos back then. It was that time frame. And they had invited you to a backyard barbecue at their place on a Sunday afternoon, and you're like, "Oh man, I would love to go. That would be fun." But you were so afraid that if you went and you were like eating a hamburger, one of them would turn to you and say, "What's my name?"
Yeah. I had no idea. I had so many regulars, and I want to say this right now publicly. I don't think I've ever had a forum to say this. I want to thank each and every person that ever gave me $1 or a thank you or ordered a drink for me. You have set my path correctly. I thank you very much to all of you. Because without you guys, that I have no idea what your names were, I wouldn't have been able to have things that I have now.
No, and they would like the honesty.
You know what? Yes, it's a tough job, but like, the amount of money that we made, like, those were incredible. We had careers.
Yeah,
Careers out of them.
Johnny Levergood was the sidebar bartender,
Yeah.
and every
Legend.
year he would leave. Yeah, he would go away for his anniversary, and he happened to get married on New Year's, so he never got to bartend on New Year's.
That's a lie. I would love to see the paperwork on that now. Well, I got married on New Year, so I got to work it.
But I think he ended up going down to Mexico every year, so one way or the other, he was out of town.
Yeah.
And so they asked me to work the sidebar.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy with the volume of people that were there for a 4-hour period.
Yeah, 4 hours of fun.
It was so busy that I dropped my bottle opener on the ground and kicked it under the well. And I couldn't stop to get on my hands and knees with a light and try to find it back there.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't just throw your hand under the well, Seth.
No. There were, besides the broken glass, just for the open, the rusty nails and
yes,
and flatbreads and whatever else.
No money.
Flatbreads. The lemons and limes from a decade prior, like, unbelievable.
God, everything that missed the slop bucket.
Everything that missed the slop bucket.
So as a result, you're standing there opening beers, and even though they're twist-offs, because we got them in the well, but you're opening so many that I had cut. Going down all the way from the palm to the tip of the finger on both of these. And it was just raw. But it didn't matter because you made so much money. And we went up and one of the rituals that the bartenders had would be to go up into the booths. And you were no longer a barback. You were no longer a day bartender. You were one of the lead bartenders.
Yes.
You would go up there and you would roll your money.
Yeah. You count your cash.
That was a fun thing to do.
That was the best part of the night. Like, it was a testament of the work that you had just done.
Yes.
It was your paycheck. Honestly, man, like, it's crazy because I don't know that it's like that.
No.
I don't know. I mean, we're September 27th, 2021.
Yeah.
Bars are closing at midnight now.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, the times and whatever's going on. But, like, we were Tijuana North, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was
a
crazy.
Different time. It's just not like that, and it never will be again.
No.
You had an apartment. We go back from the bar to your apartment a lot of times.
The red light district.
And it was such a fun place. You were on the 8th or 9th floor.
9th floor, maybe, yeah.
At the corner of
Carnegie Apartments, I believe it was called then. Pulisher and
Victoria.
Yeah.
Great apartment, and it was so close to the downtown core.
Oh, yeah. It was 9 minutes. It was 9 minutes from my couch to any bar.
And we would go there, and I've got lots of photos of a night at your place, and it was just a great place to hang out. Meet new people, too.
Yeah.
And then there was one night, and I wasn't there for this, but it's a legendary story, and I wanted you to share it.
It was fireworks night. So it was fireworks night in downtown Windsor, which was like a Tuesday or whatever day it was. It was a busy night. You'd have families come in, and it was massively busy. You'd have the first wave would come in, and you'd do dinners and drinks, and everyone would leave and go watch the fireworks, 9:45 or whatever it was. And then there'd be like that 20 or 30 minute period of the fireworks where the bar was empty, and all we would do, and I remember I never saw fireworks for like 3 years. People would leave, and all we would do is restock the bar. Refill the fridges with beers, bring the vodkas, get ready. And 30, 40 minutes later, there'd be a second wave of now drinkers, like partiers, because now it's 10 o'clock and the families are gone, and now you're into that for the rest of the night. Anyway, great night, fireworks night, we party. Hey everyone, let's go back to my apartment. Sure. So we go back to my apartment, and now it's, and anyone in the industry knows that the real party starts at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So now it's, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I had this red rope light that I'd run across the balcony. So the rule was that if the red light was on, then I was having a party. If the red light was off, then I wasn't. So the red light was on. We're all sitting in my living room on the 9th floor of this place. We're all wasted. So there's probably like 8 of us in the room, and we've all been there together the whole time. And all of a sudden, the balcony door opens on the 9th floor, and this guy that was not with us the whole time had climbed all the way up to the 9th floor of my apartment and jumped on the balcony, high as shit. And now looking back on it, probably on something, and it climbed all the way up. And I remember there was probably about a good 30 seconds where we all just stood there and looked at each other, and no one knew what to do. We didn't know what to do.
No.
And immediately we all were like, okay, you got to get out of here. And we were all, guys and big guys, and there's some girls there too, and they were shocked, and we pulled them out.
But you didn't recognize this guy from anybody.
Nobody. Like, he climbed. I want to emphasize for those of you, he climbed 9 floors up. And when we were hustling out of my apartment in shock and throwing him in the elevator, we're like, what were you thinking? And he's like, oh, I saw the red light. So he walked towards the light. It all happened so quickly, and we were like, did that happen? Because we're not sober, right, at this point. This guy could have fell to his death at any moment on the 8th, on the 7th, on the 5th.
Oh, yeah.
But even though it was crazy and in some regards sad, it was the greatest. It was a legendary fireworks story. Great story, man.
Great story.
And people that are listening to this, I'm sure, will remember that they were like they were there, and it was shocking. Shocking.
Well, that's another thing is you had a flood at your place. You lost all your old photos and memorabilia.
Yeah,
I got like Honest Lawyer golf ball here, and then there's
you do have a quite collection.
Yeah, but I want to put the call out to other people that we worked with back then.
Sure.
Maybe some of them have something.
Yeah, I would assume that you have the most.
And I've got some film too.
Yeah, because you were at that time. I remember you were not the whole time, but you had a camera with you. You had that big. With the VHS tape in and the whole deal.
I had one of those, but very little Honest Lawyer footage, unfortunately, because we were just too busy bartending.
Yeah, I was working.
You literally have to put it on a tripod and just hit record, and I did that too. I remember having to work. I worked a lot of Sunday shifts, and the math worked out that it was the gold medal game for the men's hockey. Canada won the gold. I was by myself.
Oh my God.
Ryan Inch was managing. Everybody came in off the
street. So you're by yourself?
Yeah. The streets filled up with people, and we were right there on OLED. People flooded in, and they all wanted Canadian.
Oh my God.
I had the Canadian cases just open on the floor.
Yeah.
Selling them out of the box.
Warm.
Yeah,
and they loved it. They loved it.
And they were patriotic. So
and you never worked harder in your life, eh? Like, unbelievable.
It's such a blur. Like, how are you supposed to remember any of that?
And remember we used to call last call, well, whatever it was, at 1:45.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to clear the bar because we couldn't, people would continue ordering drinks, and we're money hungry, we'd continue serving them, and we didn't want to get in trouble. But we would grab like $50 from the tip jar and go next door to the Avalon.
Yeah.
And just do shots.
Yeah, and I felt that revolved around the longtime bartender and awesome guy, Brandon Jameson.
Yeah.
Who passed away, unfortunately, but he was a veteran at that time. He was a few years older than all of us, and he had worked downtown bars since Cadillac Jack's.
And he only worked service.
But he had people coming in to see him, and he was just such a nice man, nice guy.
Yeah, great guy.
A quick Brandon story. I remember working with him on a New Year's Eve at the main bar. It was him and I back there and maybe somebody else, and Brandon told me, my wife is in labor, I might have to leave. You remember that?
I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, so Brandon got a call around 11:45 or 12:45 or something, and he had to go to the hospital, and he left me by myself.
Yeah.
And I remember just being so happy for him and giving him a kiss.
Yeah, but yet mad at him all at the same time because he just screwed us. But yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
He was such a good guy. Oh, and that New Year's Eve that I was working, the one where I dropped the opener. The barback who was working with me that night was a different guy, like the latest barback that they hired, because normally the barback would be me.
Right.
But since I moved up to bartender, this kid, who was a busser probably, had to move up to barback. He was not prepared for what was about to happen. But this guy decided to do ecstasy on New Year's.
Oh, yeah. What was that guy's name?
I'm not sure what it was. He was a nice kid, but he did ecstasy on a very bad night. And at the end of the night, he was curled up in a ball in the fetal position in the cooler. Yeah, the walk-in cooler.
The cooler was the haven, man.
Yeah.
When you got too hot or you needed a minute or you just had to finish that doobie, you know.
Oh, what? Do you remember like how fun it was to work a St. Patty's Day?
Oh, man. You know what? Like at 5 p.m., I remember the one St. Patty's Day. There's 300 people in this place at 5 p.m. And it was like a Wednesday. It wasn't a Friday night or anything. And I remember looking, I couldn't see one sober person. Like, everyone was so wasted. St. Patty's used to be huge in Windsor.
Oh, my God.
Like, it didn't even matter the date. It didn't matter the
weather.
weather
was right. Well,
yeah. Oh, the weather was right. That was
we were indoors,
By 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, there were people just falling. And I worked during the day and still made a ton of money. And then basically gave it back to all you guys at night. Sat at the bar and gave it all back. You know what I mean? So,
do you remember having green hands?
From the beer, man.
Yeah.
What ridiculous. Honestly and truly, who likes drinking a green OV? Nobody. There's not one person. And we had the jars of food coloring, and we had to do. Remember when someone was watching us, we had to do it. I was like, oh my god. Man.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fun in that place. When it closed, finally, the word went out that there were, I don't know if it was on Facebook or whatever, that there was one last night. And I don't know if it was, now you can correct me on this or tell me. I don't think that it was actually open to the public. I think it was like a reunion of all the staff that had worked there. Am I correct when I say this?
It was open to the public, but it was also a reunion of the staff that worked there.
Okay, right. Okay,
yeah.
okay. So it was one and the same.
Yeah.
And I remember being in there, and I think you were there for sure. And I remember Justin Wilson was there, Mike Fox, and I remember having this moment, thinking to myself, this is like the closing of like a university. We all had kind of cut our teeth there. We'd learned from there. We'd moved on to other things, whether it was in hospitality or other walks of life. And we all got like this training there. And now the university was closing. The Honest Lawyer, and we were all alumni. And we were there to celebrate, the education that we attained at this institution.
And one more trip to the promotion closet. And
the best part about that was I have no memory how it happened, but at some point I was pouring drinks at this bar that I hadn't worked at in over a decade. Incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible. And we signed our names in the liquor room. Hootie was here, and it was closing.
And I blew fire. I used to like blowing fire.
Yeah.
They let us blow fire behind the bar.
We just did it. And that was a good thing also too about that place. And the staff that worked there, and all encompassing the time. There was no plan. We just wanted to have a good time. We wanted to make money. It was important that our customers had a good time because they would come back and tip us more, and all that kind of like domino effect.
Yeah.
But there was no plan.
Those were great days, and if anybody has any photos, send them in. And I've got some Honest Lawyer paraphernalia or swag here that I want to give away, so if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'll make that happen. I'll just pick one, and I'll have Hootie draw one for me.
Sure.
You're involved in a charity right now. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm the co-founder of a charity called Fantastic Fathers here in Windsor. We basically do events and help dads do things with their kids, interact with their kids, because family is very important. So you can check us out on Fantastic Fathers on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And feel free to donate, because we love your donations to help our community and help our families.
That's great. And I find it funny that you're another friend who's had 2 daughters.
Yeah, who knew?
You got 2
we
daughters.
knew.
Yes.
It's penance.
And Justin Wilson, another good buddy.
Yeah.
3 daughters.
Yeah.
And then there's others out there too, and we seem to all have daughters, and so that just more of a reason for us to get together and hang out and talk, because it's fun, because some of the stuff that you were talking about tonight I had forgotten about, I'm sure vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
So it's nice to have that jog down memory lane, and it's just a bit of fun,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you as well. And those are just a few of our stories that come to mind from working in bars in downtown Windsor back in that era. If you have any stories that you'd like to share, let me know. I'd love to do more of these interviews. If you'd like this Moosehead beer tap, all you have to do is leave a comment with an Honest Lawyer memory in the comment section below, and Hootie will pick the winner. Heck, favorite downtown bar memory, Don Cherry's, Loose Goose, Bentley's, they're all great memories. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tip your bartenders and waitresses.
Part of the documentary I'm making.
And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Michael Evans, Windsor, Ontario.